There's something in your blood, something in your bloodline that's preventing you from financial prosperity. And it's not what you think. Kathryn Kuhlman discovered this the hardest way. After years of struggling to pay the bills, working 3 jobs, watching opportunities slip away like water, until the day a medium named Sarah looked her in the eyes and said something that would change everything. Your bloodline carries an energetic debt, $47,000. You'll understand what that means, and more importantly, how to unlock this inheritance that's rightfully yours. But first, I need to tell you about what Kathryn experienced on that rainy October Thursday. She was in line at the bank, trying to negotiate another loan extension. The manager treated her like a number, like just another person who couldn't manage money. But something strange happened. An elderly woman in line next to her started to tremble. Her eyes locked onto Kathryn, and she whispered something that sent chills down her spine. "You carry the weight of the dead." Kathryn tried to ignore it, to pretend she hadn't heard, but the words echoed in her mind like a broken bell. Carrying the weight of the dead. 3 weeks later, she met Sarah, the medium who would change her perspective on money forever. Sarah didn't waste time with small talk. She went straight to the point, like a spiritual surgeon cutting right to the wound. Your great-grandmother made a promise she never kept, an energetic debt passed down through generations, and now it's reached you. Kathryn felt a shiver run down her spine. What kind of promise? A promise of charity, to distribute wealth to the needy. But she died before fulfilling it. And the universe doesn't forget. Have you ever felt an invisible force sabotaging your financial efforts? Like you're swimming against a current no one else can see? It's not coincidence. It's not a lack of effort. It's not because you don't deserve it. It's because your family line carries an energetic debt that needs to be settled. A blocked inheritance that should be yours by right. Sarah explained to Kathryn how this hidden system of family inheritances works. Imagine each family has a spiritual bank account. When someone makes a promise involving money and doesn't keep it, that account is frozen, blocked, and all descendants suffer the consequences. It's like there's a cosmic bank, and your family has a huge positive balance waiting to be released. But there's a catch, an energetic lock that can only be removed through a specific ritual. Kathryn was skeptical. Who wouldn't be? But then Sarah showed her something that changed everything. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. If I get all 3 right, you'll accept that something bigger is happening here. First question. Have you always had trouble saving money? Like it slips through your fingers. Kathryn nodded slowly. Second question. Did your parents and grandparents also have constant financial problems, even though they were hardworking and honest people? Kathryn's heart raced. How could Sarah know this? Third question. Do you feel an inexplicable guilt whenever you're about to make more money? Like you don't deserve it? Tears started streaming down Kathryn's face. Sarah had gotten everything right. Now you understand. It's not about you. It's about the bloodline. It's about a debt that needs to be honored so abundance can flow again. Let me explain what Sarah discovered about these blocked inheritances. There are 3 main types of ancestral financial blockages. The first type is the most common, the unfulfilled promise. When someone in your lineage promised to help someone financially or a cause and died before fulfilling it. The second type is more subtle, ill-gotten gains, when someone in the family made money dishonestly, and that negative energy infiltrated the bloodline. The third type is the most painful, the rejection of abundance, when someone consciously rejected a wealth opportunity out of pride or fear, creating a pattern of scarcity. Kathryn discovered that her family's case was the first type. Her great-grandmother, Eleanor Vance, had promised St. Francis of Assisi that she would donate a specific amount to the poor if her husband recovered from severe pneumonia. Her husband recovered, but Eleanor died in an accident before making the donation. The promise remained open, like an unpaid bill in the universe's bank. And all of Eleanor Vance's descendants carried this energetic debt. But how much was the promise? Kathryn asked. Sarah closed her eyes, connected with the ancestral energy. And when she opened her eyes, the number that came out was exact: $47,000, adjusted for today's values. The same amount Kathryn had always dreamed of having. The amount that would solve all her financial problems. It wasn't a coincidence. It was the blocked inheritance waiting to be released. You may be wondering, how do I find out if my family has one of these blocked inheritances? There are clear signs, patterns that repeat themselves generation after generation. The first sign is too obvious to be ignored. Chronic financial difficulties in hardworking and honest people, as if there's an invisible ceiling preventing prosperity. The second sign is more subtle. Opportunities lost at the last minute. Contracts canceled without explanation. Investments that used to work suddenly fail. The third sign is emotional. Inexplicable guilt related to money. Feeling like you don't deserve wealth. Deep fear of asking for what you're worth. The fourth sign is physical. Symptoms of financial stress that don't improve even when the situation temporarily improves, as if the body holds the memory of scarcity. The fifth sign is spiritual. Recurring dreams with deceased relatives. Especially dreams where they seem worried or distressed. If you've recognized 3 or more of these signs, there's a high probability that your lineage carries a blocked inheritance. Kathryn recognized all 5, and that's when Sarah taught her the ancestral unblocking ritual. It's not black magic. It's not dangerous. It's simply honoring the original intention of your ancestor and releasing the trapped energy. The ritual has 5 specific steps. Each step represents a key that unlocks a layer of the blockage. First key, acknowledgement of the debt. You need to consciously acknowledge that there's an unfulfilled promise in your lineage. Second key, identification of the ancestor. Through meditation or intuition, discover which family member created the blockage and what the original promise was. The third key, honor the intention. Make a symbolic donation, representing the fulfillment of the ancestral promise. It doesn't have to be the exact amount. The universe accepts pure intention. The fourth key, lineage forgiveness. Consciously forgive the ancestor who created the blockage, releasing any unconscious resentment. The fifth key, opening to abundance. Verbally declare that you accept receiving the energetic inheritance that is rightfully yours. Kathryn performed the ritual on a Friday night. She lit a white candle, placed a photo of her great-grandmother on the table, and followed exactly the 5 steps Sarah had taught her. In the first step, she said aloud, I acknowledge that my great-grandmother, Eleanor Vance, made a promise of charity that went unfulfilled. I accept that this created a blockage in family abundance. In the second step, she meditated for 20 minutes, focusing on Eleanor Vance's energy, and during the meditation, she had a clear vision. She saw her great-grandmother in a church, kneeling before a statue of St. Francis, making a solemn promise. In the third step, she made a donation of $50 to a local charity. It was all she could afford at the moment, but she did it with complete sincerity. In the fourth step, she spoke directly to her great-grandmother. Eleanor Vance, I forgive you for not keeping your promise. You had no choice. Life took you too soon, but now I fulfill it for you. In the fifth step, she declared with strength, I accept the energetic inheritance that belongs to me. I open my heart and my life to receive the abundance that is my birthright. And then she blew out the candle. What happened in the following weeks defied all logic. On Monday, Kathryn received an unexpected call. A company where she had interviewed 6 months earlier was offering her a position, with a salary 40% higher than she was earning. On Wednesday, a distant relative she didn't even know existed died and left a small inheritance. It wasn't a fortune, but it was exactly enough to pay off her most urgent debts by the end of the month. An investment she had made years ago and had completely forgotten about paid off. The company was sold, and she received an unexpected sum. In 3 months, Kathryn's financial life had completely changed. But the most important change was internal. The inexplicable guilt had vanished. The feeling that she didn't deserve wealth had dissolved like mist in the sun. For the first time in her life, she felt financially free. It was as if someone had removed a giant stone from my chest, she told me months later. I didn't know I was carrying that weight until it disappeared. But Kathryn's story is just the beginning. Because after Sarah started discreetly spreading this technique, something extraordinary happened. People from all over the world began to discover their own blocked inheritances. And the results were always surprising. Marcus from Detroit discovered that his grandfather had promised to build a school and never did. After performing the ritual, Marcus received a full scholarship that completely changed his life. Isabella from Sao Paulo found records that her great-great-grandmother had promised to help orphans and died in the Spanish flu pandemic. 3 weeks after the ritual, Isabella won a lawsuit that had been stalled for years. James from Texas discovered that his great-grandfather had promised to plant 1,000 trees after a devastating drought. He never did. After the ritual, James unexpectedly inherited land with immense commercial value. Do you see the pattern? It's not about the specific value of the promise. It's about the stagnant energy. It's about honoring the original intention and releasing the natural flow of abundance. But there's something Sarah had never told me before. Something she discovered only after hundreds of cases. Blocked inheritances are not random. They follow specific lineages of energy. And there's a way to calculate exactly what the value of your ancestral inheritance is. It's a formula that takes into account 3 main factors. First factor, the original value of the promise, adjusted for spiritual inflation. It's not the common monetary inflation. It's inflation based on the energy accumulated over generations. Second factor, the number of generations that carried the blockage. Each generation adds a layer of energetic interest to the inheritance. Third factor, the type of promise that was broken. Promises related to charity have different multipliers than promises related to justice or education. When Sarah applied this formula to Kathryn's case, she arrived at exactly $47,000. It wasn't intuition. It was spiritual mathematics. And when she applied it to other cases, the accuracy was frightening. The amount each person received after the ritual corresponded exactly to the calculation of the blocked inheritance, as if the universe kept perfect accounts. But there's a catch, a condition that few people know. The inheritance only manifests if you perform the ritual with absolute sincerity. The universe detects false intentions from miles away. If you try to manipulate the process, if you do it only for money, if you don't truly honor your ancestor, the blockage becomes even stronger. It's like trying to force a lock with the wrong key. You end up breaking the mechanism. Sarah told me about 3 cases where this happened. The first was with a man named Robert. He performed the ritual, but deep down, he didn't believe in anything. He was just testing to see if it worked. Result, he lost his job the following week and spent months unable to find another. The second was with a woman named Patricia. She did everything right, but during the ritual, she was only thinking about the money she would earn. She felt no gratitude for her ancestor. Result, the few investments she had went wrong simultaneously. The third was with a young man named David. He didn't even bother to research his family properly. He invented a broken promise that never existed. Result, he started having nightmares with furious ancestral figures and had to perform a spiritual cleansing ritual. The universe does not forgive lies when it comes to family lineage. Therefore, there is a specific protocol that needs to be followed. First step of the protocol: true ancestral research. You need to really investigate your family history. Talk to older relatives. Search old documents. Find real clues about unfulfilled promises. Second step, connection meditation. Before the main ritual, you need to meditate, focusing on the energy of your ancestors for at least 7 days. This creates a genuine channel of communication. Third step, energetic confirmation. During these meditations, you'll receive signs that you're on the right path. Specific dreams, impossible coincidences, physical sensations during meditation. Fourth step, ritual of honor. The ritual itself needs to be performed with total reverence, as if you were in the presence of your ancestors, because in truth, you are. Fifth step, active patience. After the ritual, you don't passively wait. You continue living, working, striving. But with an inner feeling that doors are opening. Kathryn followed this protocol exactly, and that's why it worked so perfectly. But there's something even deeper happening here. Something Sarah only revealed to me after years of trust. Blocked inheritances aren't just about money. They're about breaking familial patterns of scarcity that have perpetuated for generations. When you perform the ritual correctly, you're not just unlocking money. You're healing the entire lineage. Your children will be born with a healthy relationship with abundance. Your grandchildren won't carry irrational financial fears. Your entire family will benefit for centuries. It's an ancestral responsibility and also a unique privilege. Think for a moment about your own family. How many generations carried the weight of lack? How many of your ancestors slept worried about money? How many dreams were postponed or abandoned because of financial limitations? Now imagine you have the power to break this pattern forever. Imagine being the person in your lineage who said enough to hereditary scarcity. Imagine being remembered by future generations as the one who unleashed familial abundance. That's the true inheritance you can leave. It's not just about the 47,000 or whatever the value of your specific inheritance is. It's about transforming the financial destiny of an entire lineage. Sarah showed me records of families she followed for years after the ritual. The transformation doesn't stop with the person who performs the ritual. Children begin to have unique opportunities. Spouses find better jobs inexplicably. Close relatives begin to prosper in unexpected ways. It's as if abundance is contagious within the family. As if the ritual creates an energetic field that protects and attracts prosperity to the entire lineage. But there's a crucial detail Sarah always emphasizes. The ritual must be performed by someone from the bloodline. It doesn't work if a friend or acquaintance does it for you. The connection needs to be genetic, and it needs to be done at a minimum age of 21. Before that, the person doesn't have enough spiritual maturity to carry the responsibility. Furthermore, it can only be done once in a lifetime. If you try to repeat it, you lose the effect completely. That's why it's essential to do it right the first time. Sarah developed a final checklist to ensure everything is perfect before the ritual. Item 1. Have you truly researched your family history and found evidence of at least one unfulfilled promise? Item 2. Have you meditated for at least 7 consecutive days, focusing on ancestral energy? Item 3. Have you received clear signs during your meditations that you are connected with your ancestors? Item 4. Are you doing this with absolute sincerity, not just for greed? Item 5. Do you understand that you are taking on a responsibility with future generations? Item 6. Are you able to make a genuine, symbolic donation as part of the ritual? Item 7. Are you prepared to receive abundance without guilt or self-sabotage? If you answered yes to all items, you're ready. If you answered no to any item, you need to work on that aspect before proceeding. Kathryn answered yes to everything. And that's why the result was so dramatic. But even she had moments of doubt during the process. On the 3rd night of meditation, I thought about giving up, she told me. It seemed too crazy. A grown woman talking to dead people to unlock money. But then she had the dream. A dream so vivid she woke up crying. In the dream, she was in an old house smelling of lavender and beeswax. An elderly woman, whom she immediately recognized as Eleanor Vance, was sitting in a rocking chair. Her great-grandmother looked directly into her eyes and said, "Daughter, I've waited so long for you to reach me. I couldn't keep my word when I was alive, but you can keep it for me. And when you do, everything I wanted to give to the poor, the universe will give to you. That's how the circle of generosity works." Kathryn woke up with an absolute certainty that the path was right. And when she performed the ritual 3 days later, she felt a warm presence beside her throughout the entire process, as if Eleanor Vance were there, finally at peace. That's the most beautiful part of the whole process. It's not just about receiving money. It's about healing ancestral wounds that cross generations. It's about honoring those who came before you. It's about transforming old regrets into modern blessings. It's about discovering that you are not alone in your financial journey, that there's an invisible network of ancestral support waiting to help you prosper. But there's a time limit to access this inheritance. Sarah discovered that the more generations pass without someone performing the ritual, the weaker the energetic connection becomes. After 7 generations, the inheritance completely dissolves into the ether and is lost forever. If you feel you may have a blocked inheritance in your lineage, the time to act is now. Not 6 months from now when life is more organized. Not next year when you have more time. Now. Because every day that passes is a lost opportunity to transform not only your financial life, but the destiny of your entire family. And maybe, just maybe, there are ancestors of yours on the other side waiting for decades for your courage to finally honor the unfulfilled promises, waiting to whisper in your ear, "Finally, my child, finally, the time has come to receive all that has always belonged to you. The inheritance is there, blocked but waiting. The key is in your hands. The only question that remains is, will you have the courage to use it? Because on the other side of that ancestral door, $47,000 may be waiting to transform your life forever. Or maybe it's another amount. Maybe it's more. Maybe, just maybe, this is exactly what you need to finally breathe financially. It's a chance to escape the suffocating weight of financial struggle. The only way to find out is to summon the courage to open the door your ancestors left locked. A door perhaps concealing not a prison, but a hidden inheritance. A legacy waiting to be claimed. And maybe, just maybe, you'll realize they never intended to lock anything at all. They were trying to keep you out. Oh no, they were waiting. Patiently waiting for a family member brave enough, strong enough to take on the responsibility, the sacred duty of honoring the love they couldn't express in life. A love that remained unspoken, unfulfilled until now. Your inheritance isn't just money. It's not just about $47,000 or a bigger bank account. It's so much more than that. It's the undeclared love of entire generations. A love passed down through the bloodline. A powerful current, sometimes blocked, sometimes flowing freely. A river of affection waiting to nourish you. And that love is priceless. It's beyond measure, beyond calculation. It can't be bought, it can't be sold, but it has the power, the unstoppable power to transform everything, to heal wounds that span centuries, to unlock abundance you never thought possible. Kathryn Kuhlman understood this, and it changed her life forever. It can change yours too.